JR, welcome to the Dark Waters, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, thank you.
How you been, dude? It's been about 2 weeks since your first place finished. What have you been up to?
Yep. I haven't fished since. uh,
Okay.
just the weather and everything down here.
Yeah. And now, well, I guess before we go any further, I guess you need to introduce yourself. First time on the show. You won't have to do it again. I promise. If you ever come back on, so who you are, what you do, just shit like that.
All right. Jr Rentz. I live down in South Jersey. Originally from Delaware. Lived over there for 35 years. Now I've been over here in South Jersey. I didn't go far. Right across the bridge. I've been over here about 6 or 7 years now.
Okay.
Been fishing for a long time. Real long time. Probably since I was like 5 with my grandfather and stuff. Just die hard. Yeah. Do a little hunting in the off season. But name it. I mean, I work for the power company down here, the gas company.
Okay.
I originally did that over in Delaware, and then I moved over here because I got a supervisor job.
Well, cool. Well, how long you been in a kayak? How'd that journey start?
So I started looking into them, just for something else to get out there and do. I think kind of like what a lot of other people want to do. It's just a cheaper and easier means of getting out in the water.
Yeah.
I do a lot of fishing by myself. My brother goes with me a little bit, my brother-in-law. But I've actually talked to 2 of them into getting Old Towns also now. So, but we get out there and it was just easier.
Right.
I just like the simplicity of it. Just nice and get tucked back in those waters where you can't get a boat.
Oh yeah.
It's just I don't know how to describe it.
It's just better. Just say better.
It's just so much. It's just laid back.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. You go. I mean, like it's the shit you have to deal with a boat. I don't want nothing to do with that. I don't want to take care of a boat. I don't want to pay for someone to maintain a boat. I don't want to, I don't want to have to try to put a boat in the water by myself. And then I don't want to worry about all the shit that goes with a boat. Like I take my kayak wherever I want to go.
Exactly.
No limits, man.
You can throw it in the back of the truck. I got mine on trailer, but I can
Yeah.
easily throw it in the back of the truck if I need to.
Yeah.
So it's just, you can pretty much go anywhere with them things. That's what makes it nice. You can just pick up and go.
Yeah. So you being Delaware, Jersey area, what are some of the places you like to fish, man? Like my dad lives in Dover, Delaware. And I want to go down to visit him so I can get some time on the obviously the Chesapeake Bay. And not only that, but I know like when you drive through Delaware, there's a lot of funny little spots of water that, I'm just like I bet there's bass in there, whether it's just like I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know if they're coming from the Chesapeake Bay or they're just small ponds. There's like these little pockets of water that I see down there that I really want to hit up. But you know the area better than I am, better than I do. Like, what do you like to fish?
Delaware's a lot of shallow ponds.
Right.
From the top of the state to the bottom of the state, they do have some rivers. I got a spot that runs right through Wilmington that I like. You can go in there and catch stripers, smallmouth, and largemouth.
Nice.
Not a lot of people fish it. Not a lot of people know about it. And actually, it's the Brandywine River. It starts all the way up in PA, comes down through. Okay. You've got the Nanacoke down in southern Delaware. Lum's Pond, that's a big one in Newcastle County. Killen's Pond. There's just a ton of little mill ponds all throughout the state.
Yeah.
Say about Dover and stuff. I actually got property down just west of Dover that we hunt on.
Okay. Well, my family actually lives in Viola, I think is what it's called.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
We got we're not far from there. We've got land in Felton, Delaware.
Yeah, farms everywhere.
Yep, that's all it is. It's just everything. And that's kind of how South Jersey is, just like Delaware. Okay. Just a lot of shallow mill ponds.
Okay.
And, so everything you're fishing is just hard structure, basically, coming offshore. A lot of lily pads. There's a neat little creek out near Delaware City, Delaware. It's in Newcastle County called Dragon Creek. It's small, but it's
gotta be awesome though, during especially like that early time of the year before like it gets really, really thick with grass. I mean, the water temps gotta get warm there first, and I bet like it warms up quick, and so like like the big body of water suck, but you get in those ponds like early April and just start crushing big ones. That's that's kind of what we do up here. Like the once the ice melts in some of like these smaller body of waters that we have up here, we
Yep.
go in there and we start cracking them early before like the big lakes get good, because it takes a while for the lakes up here to start warming. Hell, I mean, like, they're still like low 50s right now. You know what I mean? But some of these ponds are getting they're getting close to peaking at 60 right now. So we've been fishing those quite a bit, and that's just monsters in them. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like golf course fishing sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. But like Susquehanna, I love the Susquehanna.
I don't know, dude. Like I hear great things about it,
Love
and
it.
it's on my bucket list. But it's like one of those places I feel like I gotta go to before I spend 260. And everyone keeps calling me a pussy, which I wish they would stop doing that. It's $260, okay, or $1,000 trip to go down there and fish in like shallow, rocky water. And it's one of those things where like things could go wrong. Like, I picture in my mind like I'm gonna break my kayak on some rock I don't see. I'm gonna flip over and lose and bump my head in shallow water. I mean, whatever. I don't know the body of water that good. But when you see pictures of it, I'm like, I ain't fishing that right like a tournament. I'll go down there and hang out with some of the bros and learn how to fish it. But like, it just looks like it's not comfortable with it. Everyone just keeps talking shit, making fun of me for not wanting to go down there and fish it.
It's not that bad. I
Probably
was
not.
At first, I was just like, I might wing this, I might try it, and dude, once you fish it, you're gonna be hooked.
Okay.
Absolutely hooked. And
Yeah.
there's places that I mean, you can go out there, you can pedal, you can kayak right up the river against the current. It's not that strong of a current, and you can float your way down. I mean, you can go back and forth. You just got to pick the areas you go out, and
Yeah.
you got to watch the how much rain they have and watch the current flow and stuff like that. You get it on just a regular current flow. I mean, it's a nice river, really.
Well,
And
do you plan on doing the Hobie event there?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I
And
might. I might. I don't.
you should. My local club's having one 2 weeks after that,
What's your
which
local club?
MAKBF minute.
Okay, so you know Harshman and all some of those weirdos.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't know Jake personally, but
Oh, good, good. You don't want to
yeah.
know him personally. He's not the. I, so I don't know how I got to know him so personally, but it's like one of those things. It's like, well, shit, I'm too deep to get out now. It's,
I've seen you guys. You guys look like you have a good connection there.
yeah. We work well together. So, well, cool, man. Well, let's talk about. I mean, like your first place finish. Like, how long you been in the tournament fishing?
Uh,
Out of a kayak.
so I started the tournaments last year.
Okay, so yeah, fairly new.
About 3 years.
Okay.
But I say I've grown up bass fishing, trout fishing, all that. I just absolutely love it. So I started last year, got into it, was all about it. I didn't do too good. I think I just went about it the wrong way.
Yeah.
I went out there, fished it, enjoyed it, had fun and all that, which is fine. But this year I kind of approached it a little bit differently. I've done a lot more research.
Okay.
When I've gone out there, I've taken it a lot more seriously, been more focused. When I find a spot, I've stayed right on it.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Like that's because I just recently had some success this year too. I didn't get the first
Oh,
place.
congrats!
Yeah, I haven't got a first place check yet, but still, like to me, I could care less about the trophy. I want the money, and so if I walk away with $1,000, I might as well pop a bottle of champagne and kiss the woman giving me the check. I mean, like I'm excited, but it's like, but I feel like it's one of the things like this year I've really changed. It's like my approach to it, and it's like it's sitting down and really just fishing those bodies, like those wherever I decide I'm going to do, like for the most part I'm dedicated to that, until I've exhausted every measure, and it's just like, well, I guess I need a Hail Mary now. But I mean, I've changed the way I fish, and in the past, and I've said it millions of times, my head would start spinning, and the next thing I know, I spend more time like covering water, like I should be doing in pre-fishing, not tournament day. Trying to figure something out. And this year, it's just like you said, it's just like I stay put and I fish my ass off now.
Yeah, you find an area, and and if it's a productive area, you break it down. And like the recent one in the Potomac, I did a shitload of research on it, and Actually, there's a Ken Penrod. He's pretty well known down in that area, and he's got a book called the Potomac River Fishing Bible, and this guy goes into depth from, I mean, every cove. I mean, he tells you where. I can't even explain the detail this guy has in it, like a certain log coming off a bank. Now, he wrote this years ago, but the only thing that's really changed about the place is, I mean, some of the shoals have because it's tidal, and you get the floods and stuff.
Right.
And the grass bays change a little bit. Some might have grass this year, some might not have it 5 years from now.
Right.
But so I kind of read that a little bit. Then I did all my research like online, and watching some of the fishing reports, watching the water temps, trying to get an idea of what they're doing. And I've started watching the weather.
Yeah.
Usually about 2 weeks out of a tournament, I've started watching it just to kind of see what it's kind of doing to the water temperature.
Right.
And
those fronts, right? Like I'm starting
yeah.
to take those. I'm starting to take fronts a little more serious than I used to. Like I know, like if it's post front, like get ready to slow down and possibly move out or whatever. But like I'm starting the same way. And I tell you what, the weirdest thing that I'm starting to pay attention to, I don't even know if I believe in it, but just because like the people said it and they're just happen to be have some success with it. But that goddamn moon,
right?
I don't know if I believe it. I don't know, but now it's just like a superstition. You know what I mean? Like a black cat crossing, whatever. Like when I see that moon, I got the moon's full or whatever. I know shit's about to go down, and so it's weird. I don't know if that's true or not. You read so many different things about it, and it's like I'm just gonna believe it just for the sake of believing it.
Well, when you say about the moon, so I think it was the week of, or just the week right before, a few days before the Potomac, we had the full moon.
Yeah.
And we had that freaking nasty ass front come through. So I was like, all right, I might pick this bank just from doing research, and Google Maps is freaking huge too.
Yeah.
You go on Google Maps and you go that little timeline, and you go back and you can see when the water's low. You can see what's in the water. I mean, it freaking helps so much. And so I picked this spot, and I'm like, I'm just say fish this cove. It's out of the wind, and I'm just say go for it. I know they're catching them there from my research all year round. And I had this channel, kind of came through and swung up against the bank, and then swept back out again. And there was trees there. There was like a sand, light gravel, pea gravel bank.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want. So I fished the top 200 yards of the bank. Had two good hits first thing in the morning, right off a couple of logs coming out. So I'm like, all right, dude. I fished that for 2 hours after that. Could not get a freaking hit, and I'm changing stuff out, trying all different stuff, slowing down, fast. So I was like, all right, screw this. I'll go down to where the channel bumps up against the bank a little bit more. So I went around one guy. I get down through, and I come to this log coming out, cast in there, bam, right around 8 o'clock, 16-inch fish. I'm like, all right, pull up on bank, measure them real quick, put them back in. I come back out, another 16-inch. Do the same thing. Come back out, another 16-inch. In less than an hour, I had my 5-fish limit and all between 16 17 inches off this freaking log. So I'm like, all right, now I'm on to something. And I'm sitting, I think, in about 12 foot of water, casting up into a foot or two, and the tide's coming in. Coming off this log, there's some more stuff out in front of it because I kept hitting it with my lure the whole time. And all I was doing was just real slow cranking the jackhammer. And I've learned, what's done good for me, I fish a lot of tidal stuff over here in Jersey, is like a white and chartreuse.
Uh-huh.
has done real good for me over here in title stuff.
Nice.
So that's what I went with. And that jackhammer, the spot remover color.
I don't know what it is about that jackhammer, but it's like this year. So this is like last year. I've always fished chatterbaits for like the last 2 years, but this year was the year that I'm like, all right, I'm going to spend some money and get some jackhammers, and I'm not disappointed one bit. In fact, I'm the only thing I'm disappointed about is that everyone else knows about the jackhammer. And it's such a productive lure. I don't know what it is. Like I said, I fished all the other chatterbaits but the jackhammer like the last 2 years, and that jackhammer. There's only, and I only believe in 3 colors. I believe in obviously, 4 colors. Obviously the blue, black and blue. For deeper. When I start fishing a little bit deeper. And then obviously green pumpkin. But I really like that green pumpkin shad.
Yep.
It's this green and it's like green and white.
Yep.
I think it's like for me, and I put that New Deal razor shad on it. And so it just has like this, like to me, just looks more like a real fish, whatever. But also the spot remover, I'm a big fan of that one too. And that's it. Those 4 colors are the only things I use. And like, I can't remember. Like, it's probably been since April since I've caught a fish on anything other than a jackhammer. And it's just weird how productive that bait really is.
Yeah, it is. And that's what I did for the next 2.5 hours. Well, that kind of, honestly, the bait slowed down on the jackhammer.
Mm. I
stopped getting hits on it. So I grabbed a crankbait, red crankbait, threw that up in there. Caught one that was a little over 17. So I was able to get rid of one of my 16-inch fish. I got another hit on that, but missed it. So then I threw a Berkeley General up in there.
Okay.
Black Lake. Caught another 17-plus inch fish on that. Called another 16. Didn't get another hit on that. So I went back to the jackhammer. Wham. Caught a bigger fish. Threw that a few more times. Got another one. Then again, it died out again. And went back to throwing the crankbait. Nothing. Went back to the General. Got another one on the General. Then nothing for a while. Then went back to the jackhammer again and started picking them off from the jackhammer again. It's just, they just kept reloading in there. My biggest one I pulled out, half 19 3/4 inches.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's like something I've really learned is that you got to be patient with your spot. Especially if you're catching fish there, don't give up on it right away, because I just feel like it's just they're going to come back or something's going to change, especially during this time of the year. You know what I mean? Like just a little bit of patience, will go a long way. And not only that, but just trusting it. Trusting in what and why you decide to pick that spot. If you do everything right, the map reading, the pre-fishing, things like that, and why you're at that spot. It's I don't know, like it's foolish to leave sometimes, because you always got the reset, you always got the bite windows and all kinds of things that you need to consider before you leave a spot, because you leave that spot and then someone else who's crazy and moving around too, they're gonna find that spot, and when you come back to it, when you realize you fucked, or I'm sorry, I don't know if your kids still there, they realize you messed up. They realize you messed up. It's too late. Someone's already on your spot, and next thing you know, you got to figure it out again.
I blocked that spot for 2.5, 3 hours. Every boat, kayak that came through, and I wasn't ignorant about it. I'd pull up out there, and as soon as I see a kayak or boat coming, I stay out in front and I kind of block them. A couple people, I even said something to, said, "Hey, I'm doing real good. You mind going around me?" And they didn't care.
Yeah.
I know there's a boat that was up above me. He was watching me for a little bit. He came down through, and I asked him. He's like, "Oh, I've seen what you've been doing," and he said, "That's why I'm going around you." And but when they came through, I'd throw something that the fish weren't biting on.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't getting them on a spinnerbait, so I'd throw a spinnerbait in there. But it's still, I feel like it was keeping them active, because they're coming through there, it's grabbing their attention.
Right.
But I wasn't catching it while somebody's coming through who didn't know what I was doing. So they get by, and I'd freaking go back to the chatterbait again. And I had a boat that sat down. These guys sat down below me the whole freaking time off this wall, and they were catching them. Not like I was, but they were doing pretty good. Finally, they came up there, and they even asked me. They said, when are you leaving? I said, I'm not getting out of here anytime soon. As long as I'm catching them. I said, if I get you in here, I said, you're to grab these fish. I said, you're gone.
Yeah.
I said, they're going in your live well. I have no chance of catching them. They're like, I know. So I bullshitted with them for a little bit, and they went about their way. And I think the bite finally died out because I had an incoming tide the whole time. And just fishing the tidal water. You only got that window.
Right.
With the incoming tide, with the outgoing tide, you're still going to catch fish regardless.
But at that point, you do have to make changes, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, big changes.
Yep.
Yeah.
You get the first couple hours, man. They freaking be on, and once they stop, you got to figure something else out.
Now, how do you think they usually work? Jake Harshman makes fun of me every time I talk to someone about fishing the Potomac. But I mean, like, I imagine that they got a pattern as well. Like when they're shallow, they know where they want to be. When the tide's coming in, and then when the water starts putting them out, I imagine they're going to go to the a close piece of cover or something that's going to give them that depth and the temperature or whatever that comfort that they need to beat a spot. But I imagine they wouldn't really move that far away, relative to where they were before. I don't know. I don't fit. I mean, now, granted, I'm going like. When I used to fish the marsh for like redfish and stuff, it was big movements when that's because we're talking about like the Gulf Coast or something. When that water pulls out, it pulls out. Big, I mean, like just big changes in like the environment or whatever. I'm not sure about the Potomac, but I mean, like, could you pretty much kind of like predict like where they're going to go? Like once the tide starts moving out, like like finding other pieces of like structure or cover or anything like that, like close to where you originally were.
I think you can because what it is, I mean, it's kind of like. It's almost like fishing a river. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have those current breaks.
Right.
So that's what I'm looking for is any of those kind of current breaks. That's kind of what I had. I had the tide, the current coming in from the tide pushed up against this bank. Mm-hmm. And it kind of slowed down there and there was some structure there and they were able to tuck in there. And I think it just, there's first couple hours you get them, you get the bait fish moving and all that stuff. So like what I would do if it was totally different and we were fishing the outgoing tide that morning or a little bit later in the day where the tidal flat filled up and then it was pouring out. I honestly, I have a couple places I would have fished where there were some ditches that were emptying into the couple of the tributaries.
Right.
Because you're to get that warmer water going up in there. On that land, the land's already warm. That water is in there, and they pull that bait fish and stuff out with it. And it's just like I've done flounder fishing and stuff too, and it's
which is similar to redfish. Like it's very similar.
It's just them little creeks pouring out of there, man. It's just like a conveyor belt of food coming out there. It's just really, that's kind of how I fish them.
Yeah. So when you were when you're out there just beating them up, were you watching the leaderboard as you were going through the day, like seeing where you were and like we're like, holy shit, I'm doing really good. Because I mean, like I know you were fishing against some really good guys. I know Brundle was there, a few other guys. I knew there was like a mixture of people because a lot of people were down in Eufaula fishing the big bass thing down there. But I mean, were you watching to see what people were doing the whole day and like did you notice like, oh wow, I'm doing pretty goddamn good?
A little bit I would check on it. Like that I tried to stand off my phone too.
You got to. That was the worst thing I did this week, especially like I've already talked about this 3 times, but it was such a like when I because I was like it's kind of like for the first hour like my plan with the shit, I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I couldn't find fish, and then when I found one, shortly after I found another, and then within like 30 minutes I had a decent limit. And then within like 45 minutes, I was over 90 inches and I was like leading the pack. And I'm like, oh God, like what do I do now? Like I was freaking out because I was dumb enough to look at the leaderboard and realize, oh wow, I'm winning. Like what do I do with this? How am I gonna keep this going? Do I leave my spot? Do I stay here and suck? But I know, but your mind starts going. It's like these weird directions of like it's a lot of pressure. And I just got the conversation with Jason Gardner, the guy who did well Kiego too, but it was like we both said like I did not like once I was like in the lead of the pack and I was like part of the top 5 or whatever. I didn't have fun for the rest of the day. For the rest of the day, I was stressed out. I just wanted the tournament to end and the results be what the results would be. I wanted nothing to do with it anymore. Like I was no longer having fun because I wasn't playing catch up. I was playing keep the lead. And like, and you get to a point where like you have like your limit's so big. And it can always get bigger, but it's not easy finding a 20-inch fish. It's not easy finding a 21-inch fish. Hell, a 17-inch fish is a good fish. And like my smallest fish was 17 3/4. And I'm like, what do I do? So like the whole time I'm just freaking out because, I got a chance to win some big money and it was nerve wracking. I don't know how those guys stay at the top like that. Like maybe they just got more confidence than I have. But the whole time I'm like, I don't even know how I got here. I have no idea how this all played out the way it did.
It is. Like I'll look at it off and on just to get an idea.
Yeah.
And but that's the thing. I've completely changed this year. Like I just stay doing what I'm doing.
Right.
And try to stay consistent for what I'm doing. I left that area at, I want to say 11:30. I left that area because the bite just completely stopped. I watched that boat that was up above me and the guys I was bullshitting with in the boat. They came down there, fished it. I kind of went up to their spot. They didn't catch nothing out of it. I went around the bend and tried a couple other spots that I did some research on and didn't get a freaking bite. So I'm like, man. Because I knew with that last hour to go, they're shutting that leaderboard off, and I don't know where I'm going to be. So I'm like, you know what? I might go back to that spot. I got a chance of catching that beginning of the outgoing tide here. See what I can do. Maybe they've spread out a little bit on that spot. Maybe they're going to be right there again and start feeding again. Because, like, in total, off of that spot, I caught, now, when I say spot, it's like you're talking 20 foot wide. And I was only about maybe 30 foot out, 40 foot out from the bank. That's just, I mean, it was just a small area.
Yeah.
And I caught 14 fish off that. They just kept coming in there. And then they kept getting bigger. It was freaking crazy. So I was like, all right, you know what? That last hour I'm going back. I might beat the shit out of that freaking spot again.
Yeah.
It was like game on. I do not want to lose this. Like I went back and started in there again, just doing the same routine. And I caught two 16-inch fish out of there. And it was nothing I could call with. And that was it for the day.
So you didn't know if you won or not.
I knew I was close. But that's what I like about it. I like that last hour. I know some people don't, some do. I like that last hour because I knew I was there. I don't know where.
Yeah.
But it's just like, you know what? That's making me fish that last hour. And I'm freaking, honestly, I'm balls to the wall. And I'm just like, I'm going to win this. I might go down, do what I was doing, and I might fish it to the very freaking last minute and see what happens. Then I know I tried.
Yeah. See, I think I kind of messed up like the last hour. I moved too much. I mean, granted, I was on a flat, but I was trying to figure out because like the flat was so different. Like one end was like 54 degrees, and at the other end it was like 49. So I had all this weird temperature in between. So I'm like, I caught most of my fish here, but this water over here is warmer. So I'm like playing these weird like mind games with myself, and like, really, I should have. Where'd you catch the most fish? Go beat that up for an hour. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. Like, what else are you gonna do? What else are you gonna do? Like, why do you make this more? And when it was over, it's like, why did I make this more complicated than what it needed to be? Like, there's either like you can't move to another flat. This is the place that you decided you're gonna stand your ground on. Go fish the shit. Whatever choice you make, that's fine. But don't spend your time. This last hour is so valuable. Don't waste it. Like I said, so whatever like little thing you come up with, whether it's like, okay, I'm gonna go fish the warmer water, then go fish that warmer water and don't think about that other water anymore. You already made your choice. Or if you're gonna fish this water, stay there and fish it and forget about the other water. Or you kind of got to make those kind of decisions that like, like this is it. Like, I got 1 hour to win this thing. don't think too much about it. Go in there and whatever you're gonna do, like do it hard and do it and be aggressive about it. And then come off that water like, what are you gonna do? Instead, I came off the water. I'm like, what if like I moved like 3 times in an hour. You know what I mean? And each move took about 10 minutes. So
Yep.
or for 5 to 10 minutes. I waste about anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes moving on the same flat. You know what I mean? How ridiculous is that? The same flat.
Yep.
Literally, and it's just it's a lot of this game is mental. I think. You know what I mean? It's just like if you can stay focused, you can stay in the zone. And like I said, after you made all the you made good decisions and you did good practices and things like that. But if you can stay with it, I just feel you're going to be more successful. I mean, you might not win every time, but it's better than losing. Like someone told me, like keep your line in the water as much as possible. That's how you win a tournament. Keep your line in the water. You can't catch fish unless your line's in the water. So think about that when you're out there trying to win. Especially that last hour, like you got to fish. Especially it's too close.
Yep. I got a friend of mine. Like, I'll shoot him a text if I'm going from one spot to the other. He's like, "Why are you texting me?" He's like, "Ah," and he's done a ton of tournaments, like way back in the day. And he's older now, but he's done a ton of. He was doing the glitter boats and all that, and like I'm talking about like back in like the '90s and stuff, and like the old Red Man tournaments and all that shit. And he's like, "Listen, if you're on that bite, don't stop the text. Don't move a spot. Like keep them fish active. Stay fishing. Like don't even be texting me while you're trying to get across to another spot. Think about what you're doing. Throw another rig on. Like don't even bother."
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I get it, but like sometimes I just need to clear my head.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I'll go and I'll shoot a text to somebody, or I'll look at the freaking standings. It just kind of clears my head. I'm like, all right, and then I'm just.
Oh, I have to. Like that's one thing I did because I was stressing out so much. I had to stop fishing for like a minute or two, whether it's to check my messages or text somebody. But I had to dude. I mean, I fish so hard. My whole body, like I never, like dude, like I'm a pretty active dude. I lift a lot of weights. I'm on the pellet. Like I'm pretty active. I was exhausted after that day, just from casting and moving. Like I was exhausted when I got off that water. Like I was like, I'm done. Like I went home. My eyes were bloodshot. I was tired. My wife was like, "Are you high?" I'm like, "No, I'm just exhausted." Like literally, I came upstairs. I don't even remember. Like I had a few beers downstairs. I don't even remember going upstairs and falling asleep on my couch. And like my wife's like, "Yeah, you came up, said, hey, let's watch this on TV," and then you were just gone. I'm exhausted, and it's because you're so tense. And it's just like,
Yep.
And it's just like it's okay to take a minute and be like, all right, I'm getting a little bit over excited or over stressed. Take a minute. Text your wife, tell you love or something to get your mind off like this crazy feeling you get, especially when you're in the money. Like it's just I haven't done it very often. I've done it twice this year, but every time it's just like it's a different game, I guess. Like because most of the time when I was these tournaments, I'm just trying to get a limit. I'm just trying not to skunk. And then when you're not all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I'm kicking ass. Things change. It's like you got to find a way to like keep yourself from spinning out of control because it's so easy for it to happen.
Like freaking last year in the Susquehanna for the Hobie tournament, I had a spot. I got up there and I freaking started hammering them, absolutely hammering them, and like I was doing freaking good. I know a couple times I looked, I was in first, then I dropped back, I was back in first again. So like I'm up on cloud 9. Like I'm like, this is freaking awesome because I knew. I mean, there was a shitload of people, 130 some people.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I got this. I think going into day 2, I don't know if I was like in 18th or like 20th, something like that. And I'm like, well, I might go back to that spot. And dude, I remember this tournament so freaking clearly. Like, because the first day, there was a freaking mud line down the west side of the bank. Freaking mud lines. It pushed all the fish out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And went back up there day 2 to the same spot. And the water dropped a little bit. And I was like, I'm going to go back to the same spot, start tossing the same thing. I caught 1 or 2 out of there, which the day before I caught 4 of them out of this hole. And I'm like, all right, well, the fish end up being shallow as shit. I mean, like, I'm catching them in a foot of water or less.
Jeez.
And that morning, the second day, I went down and went back to that same hole, caught one or two out of there. I went back to go north, to go up the river, and I'm making long casts because it's just shallow, clear water. The mud line moved like all the way to the bank now, and the water cleared out, so I knew the fish are spreading out. And dude, I think I lost 3 or 4 fish, and they all had to be anywhere 17 to 20 inches.
Smallmouth too, right?
Dude, like, after that, I was just like, dude, I laid some words out that morning. Like, I could just pull my kayak up and freaking burn it. I was so pissed off.
Right.
Like, it just, like, the one I had halfway to the boat, it came off. Another one, it hit the lure, and I'm bringing it in, it popped off. It was just constant. I'm like, what the frick am I doing wrong here? Like, dude, I could have snapped the shit out of every rod. I was so frustrated. So I went up farther. I tried another spot, and boom, lost another one. Like, I'm about to lose my shit. So I'm like, all right, screw this. I'm pulling out. That was the wrong freaking move I could have made. Because with them couple fish I had, I was actually sitting in a decent position. And if I would have freaking stayed there, fished better, slowed down, took my time, I think I'd have done a hell of a lot better than what I did. I think I came in like 32nd or 36th in that tournament.
Yeah, which isn't bad.
Yeah, I'm still happy with it, but I freaking pulled out. I drove 45 minutes south, put in to where a place I always go that I like, I know, and I know a lot of people fish there, and I've gone in there and caught fish when I see everybody else not catching anything. Mm-hmm. It's just a spot that works for me. I get there and the goddamn river is just stained.
Oh no.
I'm like, well, this sucks. So I'm like, you know what? I went up through these rocks, and I'm literally pulling my boat up over freaking rocks by hand, staying in the water, pulling on my boat.
That's why I don't want to fish that place.
Dude, I'm telling you, but once you do it, you'll be asking me, you'll be asking Jake, hey, when can I go back again? I'm telling you, you will be freaking hooked. It just, I get up over the rocks and I fish this area, and like nothing, because everything's freaking stained now. It's like all the stained water moves south, and just, dude, it was like, I was so pissed off.
Yeah, just spinning out of control.
Riding home, I'm like, and that's the shit you think about driving home. Then you're like,
yeah, why did I just do this? Why did I?
Made the wrong fucking move here, and it's just, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's fishing.
I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no, that's kind of where I'm at now. Like, I'm like, I'm so like, there's just things I'm gonna force myself to do. I mean, it just, you learn so much from like those bad, shitty days, like just, spinning out of control, moving 5 to 6 miles back and forth across the lake, not catching anything, skunking or not getting a limit or whatever, just not fishing clean, and just, like in those drive home, you're like, what the hell did I just spend, $120 on? Like, what was that all about? What did I just do? I didn't do anything right. All I did was panic the whole time. I could have done that in my own body of water. It's just, you live and learn. But I mean, here we are now. Like, I'm having a good season. You're having a good season. So it wasn't for nothing, but it definitely wasn't fun. Like, getting to those points, where it's just like, I mean, like, some of these, like, especially like when we make those big trips. I mean, like, I left my family for 2 or 3 days. I spent probably $1,000 on everything. That's a Disney trip or a Universal Studios trip. That's and I can't get that time or that money back. It's just like, I don't mind losing, but I don't want to lose like in that kind of way where it's just like you just lost your mind and didn't do anything right. Like, you didn't even fish. You just moved around a lot. and got your line wet, but you didn't fish. You just came down. You went all the way down to South Carolina for nothing. You didn't even have a good fishing. You didn't even have a good fishing trip.
Yep. Nah, that's what I found out. It's all like I had a boat a while ago before I got the I had one of those Tracker Pro teams, so you can bounce around.
Yeah.
I'm fishing the BFL, some of the BFLs now. So you're freaking spot to spot to spot. I mean, you're not doing that in a kayak.
No.
If you find an area that's productive, you're breaking it down.
Mm-hmm.
And if that bite dies down a little bit, you got to switch. Obviously, like they stop feeding, they slow down. So you got to find something else to go with. That's why I went that day. I started throwing the crankbait. Then I started throwing the general. Crankbait, completely different motion, something different. General, right. I mean, it's Texas rigged. I was just slow pulling it through there. And then you go back. It's something to keep them a little fired up.
Right.
That's kind of what I've just done a little bit this year. I think a couple weeks before that with MAKBF, we fished lake I'd never been to out near in PA, Lake Marburg. And I pulled out a third on that.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, I was happy.
Yeah.
Especially, I did a bunch of research, never fished it. And I'm not going to lie. Those deep reservoirs like that, I suck at, man.
Yeah, I'm not good at deep.
I suck. So I went in there. I'm like, all right, this is my game plan. This is what I'm going to do. Whatever. I pull up on a rock bank. I'm tossing, nothing. I'm like, all right. Looking at the water temp, I'm like, I'll try a couple of these coves up through here on the west side. It's not getting beat up by the wind and shit. Probably a little bit warmer. I get up in there. Boom, I catch a fish. I'm like, all right. I get farther up in the cove. And I watched a lot of people fishing like either out in the middle. They were fishing the east side, and I took a little shot over to the east side and checked that out, but it was muddier water. I ended up coming back later in the day. But again, I screwed up on that. I shouldn't have done that. But again, it was freaking the trees coming off the bank, the perfect banks, pea gravel and all that. And then I freaking start nailing them. And I got to a couple coves and I screwed up. I should have just stayed down, held that freaking cove, tossed different shit. But I'm freaking learning that. It's just, it's different tournament fishing.
No, it is.
Starting to learn that and put that into my game this year. Of you got to kind of stay there, and that area you're fishing, you got to just beat it up and figure out what the hell they want.
Yep.
If they want it fast, they want it slow, high, deep. It just, Yeah.
No, I agree 100%. Because one of the things that I learned, and then we'll talk a little bit more at the win, but is that a lot of times you'll move to another area and you're still not going to catch them. You know what I mean? Like there's a puzzle, and if you keep just bouncing from puzzle to puzzle, never figuring out any of the puzzles, you're just not going to catch any fish, or you're not going to catch very many fish. And I agree with you like 100%. But going back to like your win, how much is this? Here's the thing: you probably upset a lot of people because you only fished the one day, you win, and then you go home the next day.
I wanted to fish the second day so bad.
Yeah.
I would have fished different, but I had my 4-year-old's birthday party.
No, that's way more important.
So, if I piss people off, then so
yeah. No, that's good.
Hey, he comes first. My wife comes first. All them come first.
No, I feel the same way. Like I'm not against these two day in a row tournaments, but I'm not like sold on them either. I'm like I'm going to Candlewood with the intention of fishing one day, and then I told my wife, hey, look, if I feel like I can win the second day, or if I, whether I win or lose the first day, if I feel like I got something, I'm gonna call and ask you if I can stay. But I don't plan on staying. Like it's just like these things. I don't like being away from my family that much anymore. Unless there's certain things that I'll do, but it's just like for the most part, it's like this is just fishing. I want to go down there, do what I gotta do, and then I want to get home, back home to my family, and like I want to go eat out dinner or whatever with the family on Sunday, and not driving back home, from a tournament. And like I said, like things change. Like like it's my wife. Now that I put a little, I'm not, with the sponsors and grabbing a little bit of cash, and like fishing's not as expensive as it used to be. She don't have that much issues with it anymore. But still, at the same time, it's just like, I just don't want to waste my time with them just chasing tournaments and like one tournament on a Saturday is good. Why do I got to have one on the Sunday? I mean, I'm not saying I won't fish it, but like my mindset's like, dude, if it's not a 2-day tournament, I might not stay. You know what I mean? I might let someone else have that day and I'll just go home. I'm okay with that kind of decision.
Like with the KBF, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's not like it's combined.
That's what I'm saying. Like if there's a Hobie event, like when I commit to a Hobie event,
yes.
My wife knows like, hey, it's a 2-day event. It's probably gonna be a four day adventure. That's just it. But like, if it's just a weekend of tournaments, 2 separate tournaments, I don't know. I mean, it just depends. I mean, I don't know. I want to win money. That's what I'm kind of doing this for. So it depends on how I feel. Like I'm really going to look, I only plan on staying 1 day, but if I tell my wife, hey, I think I figured something out, and I don't want to come home empty handed. So I'm going to stay an extra day, but I'm like you, like the birthdays and the dinners, those are way more important than fishing. So.
Yep. And, I mean, she understands. She's good with it.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at getting a camper now.
Yep. That's what I want to do.
We can take both the kids with us and she can go and we can that'll help me a lot because now we can get to more. Like I'm going up to Candlewood. So I am going up to Candlewood.
Okay.
I'm looking to leave Wednesday for that. Pre-fish Thursday, Friday. I think she's looking to come up probably Friday with the kids.
Yeah.
And then come home Sunday or Monday after the tournament.
Yeah.
But like the Hobie ones, I love the 2-day combined. I like that. But then I also like what KBF does with the 2 separate ones because some people can make it, some can't because they got other priorities, and it's just both of them have their pros and cons.
Oh, I just don't care. Like either want to do it or you don't want to do it. Like, I mean, like, it's just the way I feel about things. I know there's a lot of people bitching and saying this and that. I'm like, then just don't do it. Like, I mean, like it's KBF having 2 separate tournaments on a weekend does not bother me one bit. And there's nothing. And Chad Hoover never said I had to fish both of them. But he said if you want to get as much points as you want, here's your opportunity. If you don't want to, if you don't want to drive all the way to, whatever, Georgia or South Carolina, but you still want to get points, well, I'm going to give you 2 opportunities. That's all it is to me. Like, I don't know. I don't think too much into that stuff. I'm not really chasing anything crazy with this. But if I see a tournament I want to go fish, and if I agree to the rule set, I'm going to go do that tournament. And then I'm not going to bitch about it because it doesn't matter. I mean, it works for some people. So,
yeah. I mean, it's all I can say is, I could have beat you both days. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, like, do you want to lose twice? But
well, cool, man. It was cool talking to you. Like we've talked, whatever. We're Instagram buddies and stuff like that. So it was good to finally meet you. I'm looking forward. Like I'm definitely gonna see you at Candlewood. I'll be there. I'm going there. I'm leaving like late Thursday night. Going to pre-fish Friday and then give it hell on Saturday. But also I know what's next for you. Is there anyone that you want to thank or anything you want to put out there, like any like plugs or anything like that, where people can follow you? Before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, so I just joined with Drake Performance Fishing Gear. I just joined their pro staff. So a little shout out to them. And then Jimmy D's River Bugs. They do a lot of hair jigs.
Okay.
I want to shout out to him. I sent an order out to that guy, and he's really, really hooking me up.
Nice.
So, like, really hooking me up. So I want to give a shout out to him. And if you guys get a chance, jump on his website and check him out. He's got some real nice hair jigs he's got going on, all custom made and everything. So check him out. Other than that, another shout out to my boys in MAKBF. They're freaking awesome.
Yeah, they're good anglers.
Yeah,
Not necessarily good human beings, but they're good anglers. So.
They are, dude. Let me tell you, that's a freaking tough crowd.
Yeah,
They're that's a good group to fish against. So, but that's all I got. Other than you, shout out to you too.
Well, thanks, buddy. Well, cool, man. Congratulations. A first place finish is awesome. You don't get many of those in life. So enjoy. Good luck with the rest of the season. I'll see you at Candlewood. But man, I really appreciate the conversation.
Absolutely, man.
All right, you have a good night, buddy.